back, everybody. I know my PowerPoints are shit and videos are shit, but I'm just starting, so trying to get used to this. Once again, these are just all my viewpoints and opinions, and I'm trying to help the international community not really freak out or, go crazy, basically thinking America's abandoning everybody and abandoning their allies and abandoning NATO. Well, let's take a look at the origins of the conflict or why Trump hates Europe and NATO, but, well, not hate, but why he's playing hardball, which for international community people, hardball is basically using tough business negotiation tactics with NATO, but yet being very supportive and nice to the Asian allies in Asia. So let's go into why. So why Trump supports our Asian allies but fucking hates Europe and NATO. As you can see by this picture, you can kind of tell the animosity that the European leaders had for Trump during his presidency from 2016 to 2020, which obviously, with a strong man like president as Trump, is not really good, as he's from a generation where disrespect is not really tolerated and grudges will be held a long time. So here's some background. Donald Trump's relationship with NATO during his presidency was complex and often contentious. His first NATO summit, held in May 2017 in Brussels, Belgium, set the tone for his interactions with the alliance. Trump had consistently criticized NATO during his campaign, calling it obsolete and suggesting that member countries were not paying their fair share towards defense spending, which is fucking true. At the summit, Trump's demeanor was notably confrontational. He scolded NATO allies for not meeting their financial obligations, emphasizing that many countries were not contributing to the agreed upon through documents and paperwork that were signed. Basically, every NATO country is supposed to spend 2% of their GDP to defense spending. This stance created an atmosphere of tension and discomfort among NATO leaders who were unaccustomed to such direct criticism from a US president. But in all reality, they were failing to meet what was agreed upon. So, Trump's speech at the summit, which included an incident where he pushed aside the Prime Minister of Montenegro to get in front of a group photo, was seen as disrespectful by many European leaders. His behavior was interpreted as indicative of his view that the United States was shouldering an unfair burden within NATO, both financially and militarily, which was fucking true. Here is an example of what I'm talking about. And by the way, at this point, Japan had already made an agreement in 2016 through Trump, and they were basically in very good standing. But as you can see with the other European leaders, they basically isolated Trump and laughing behind his back and kind of, politically bullying him a little bit, especially through photo ops that Trump isn't really used to. For example, when Angela Merkel, and going back here, you can see Angela Merkel kind of outmaneuver Trump politically as she's more experienced and understands the importance of even just a single photo op. So now let's go back here. Okay, continuing. Now, Trump's negative perceptions of NATO seemed rooted in his belief that the United States was being taken advantage of by its allies, whom he accused of not pulling their weight in terms of defense spending. This sentiment was echoed by some of his supporters and aligned with broader criticisms of international alliances and agreements that he articulated or basically said during his campaign and early presidency. Okay, so here's a picture, free ride for NATO. I mean, come on, guys. How do you think most NATO and Nordic countries are able to, have 2 months off vacation, work 36 hours, can easily get welfare money, even, if you're a healthy young adult male or woman, and you don't even really need to work, and so many other welfare benefits that are just Also, even being able to retire at 60 or 64, I mean, it's insane, to be honest, like how easy life is in Europe because they don't need to spend money in their military, and they can spend money into welfare programs and programs that basically make life very easy for Europeans, which is really unfair to Americans or other countries that have to pay their fair share of their military, such as even Turkey. Turkey even pays their fair share. So let's continue on from the free ride for NATO. Now, NATO countries, particularly in Europe, often maintain relatively lower military spending compared to the United States for several reasons. First, many European nations benefit from the collective security provided by NATO, which allows them to allocate resources differently than other countries facing more immediate security threats. This collective security reduces the urgency to maintain extremely high defense budgets individually. But once again, due to America heavily investing and being the main investor for NATO and its military equipment, and even responsible for the upkeep of most military bases and missile facilities in Europe without the help of the hosting European countries financially, which is costs a lot of money when you're basically spending for all of Europe's defense and America's defense and a lot of Asian allies' defense. With Social Security running out in 2035 or supposed to be running out in 2035, but yet we have these European countries who don't even have that issue or problem. Yeah, it's kind of becoming an issue for the average American citizen now. Additionally, European public programs and welfare systems provide extensive benefits to their citizens. These include healthcare, free healthcare, education, social security, and generous unemployment benefits. Many countries also offer longer periods of paid vacation and shorter work week, fostering a better work-life balance, including maternal leave for 1 to 2 years in some countries, and even paternal leave, which is unheard of in the United States. These social policies are funded through higher taxes, which contribute to lower military spending as a percentage of GDP compared to the United States. Moreover, retirement ages in many European countries tend to be lower than in the United States, allowing citizens to retire early and receive pension benefits sooner. This early retirement is supported by robust social security systems and pension plans, which are important to the overall welfare state model prevalent in NATO countries. While the USA gets fucked welfare and social program due to their high cost of maintaining a competent, prepared NATO military and also maintaining our military. So, because of our forced spending on European allies and their upkeep of military bases and weapon systems, without their help even trying to help pay the cost of such an important, expensive system to maintain the integrity and safety of NATO countries. Now, I must say that is obviously changing with the Russia and Ukraine war. And now finally we got the Europeans investing more and more in their military. And by the way, as they do that, you're going to see a lot of these public programs and welfare systems and generous, leaves from work and everything probably disappear after that. Okay, now overall, NATO's collective security umbrella, prioritization of social programs over military spending, and emphasis on quality of life contribute to the lower defense spending relative to GDP seen across many NATO member states compared to the United States. Now, just how bad was European countries' contribution to NATO financially? Let me show you. You can pause the screen and you can just read through these yourself. But I mean, as you can see, all of these are under 2%, except Greece and Estonia. What? United Kingdom, 1.9% to 2.2%, but closer to 1.9%. And as we go down lower to the list, I mean, we even get down to 1% to 1.2% for the Czech Republic. What's going on in Italy? 1.1 to 1.4? Denmark, one of the best countries to live in the world, 1.2 to 1.5. Netherlands, 1.2 to 1.5. Canada, 1.0 to 1.3. No wonder these guys have free health care and things like that. Germany, 1.1 to 1.5% of their GDP. I mean, Romania is investing more in their military than Germany. It's insane. Now, additionally, European countries have programs and welfare systems that provide extensive benefits to their systems. These include healthcare, education, social security, and generous unemployment benefits. Many countries also offer longer periods of paid vacation and shorter work weeks, fostering a better work life balance. These social policies are funded through higher taxes, which contribute to lower military spending as a percentage of GDP compared to the United States. Moreover, retirement ages in many European countries tend to be much lower than in the United States, allowing citizens to retire early and receive pension benefits sooner. This early retirement is supported by robust social security systems and pension plans, which are integral to the overall welfare state model prevalent in many NATO countries. Overall, the combination of NATO's collective security umbrella, basically America spending everything on their military, prioritization of social programs over military spending, and emphasis on the quality of life contribute to lower defense expenditures relative to GDP seen across many NATO member states compared to the United States due to their lack of funding in their military. Now, over time, Trump's stance towards NATO continued to sour between open criticism from their leaders to him and calls for reform. While his administration took steps to increase defense spending among NATO allies, the underlying tension persisted throughout his presidency. His approach contributed to strained relations with some traditional allies in Europe, while also prompting broader debates about the future of transatlantic relations and the role of NATO in a changing global security environment. But blame can also be on the NATO leaders who disrespected Trump and isolated and embarrassed him during important summit meetings, such as in 2017, such as taking photos while ignoring him, laughing at him in the background, and Angela Merkel trying to act tough in that photo in front of him. So that basically fractured Trump's relationship with NATO. So basically, the hard on NATO thought countries freeloading money from America has to change as America needs to start rebuilding its own infrastructure badly needed, as it's been almost 50 years since the government has passed massive investments for roads, bridges, commercial buildings, and etc. We'll need to focus more on domestic spending in America and basically are telling Europe, get your shit together, as we've had enough giving you a free ride and we need to fix our own shit. Basically, NATO are only fangirls sucking America dry of finances to fund their lifestyle and do whatever they want from NATO's sugar daddy, the big old USA. So don't worry, NATO. This is just part of Trump's style aggressive politic. In summary, business negotiation tactics and direct approach to NATO funding may have caused friction with European politicians. His administration maintained a fundamental commitment to the alliance's core principles and strategic importance and ensuring transatlantic security. His actions were more about pushing for what he saw as a fairer deal rather than abandoning NATO altogether, and leaders should not be concerned as they are. Don't worry, Trump is not going to leave NATO. He's just looking at it through a business negotiation instead of looking at it as like more of a finesse political situation. Basically, now Trump's approach to Asian allies was influenced by trade and security concerns specific to the region, while his interactions with NATO allies were shaped by his emphasis on defense spending and burden sharing with alliance framework. His policies reflected a mix of economic priorities. All right, basically, I don't have a lot more time left. Basically, Asia signed all of the correct agreements, listened to Trump, did what he asked, bowed down. Well, not bowed down, but basically Got in the mix. Join the family. All right. Conclusion. Bam.